All right. Well, thank you for taking a few minutes with us, and particularly as KPN here hosting us in beautiful Amsterdam.
Right. So also for me as a Dutch person, I hear there are many nationalities, 20 to 30 people, nationalities being present here. So welcome as a Dutch person. I hope you will also have some time to enjoy Amsterdam and the Netherlands. I hear we're going to make a canal ride tonight, so that's going to be great fun. But also enjoy, the good atmosphere, the flower market, maybe some museum. Well, we are in the Tropen Museum, I think, right. Already a beautiful venue. So the good things of Amsterdam.
Welcome, welcome. So, though the Netherlands is a fairly small country, relatively speaking, KPN has played a role on the global stage. You've been very innovative over the years. Tell us just a little bit about where you're at with KPN these days.
Yeah, so for those who don't know us, we're the Dutch incumbent telco, let's call it like that. So also the leading telco for the Dutch market, having B2B, B2C, but also a large wholesale division. And we have a mission, and our mission is to connect people and things to a sustainable future. So sustainability is also really important to that. And from the past, well, it's really an honor to be here because we started with CPaaS, or developer community, in 2018, 2019, which I think was quite early in the days. And the good thing is that I believe we as an industry are now at a tipping point. If you look at CPaaS and the capabilities that we can really add, raising customer satisfaction, but also bringing a lot of new services, propositions to the market, to our customers. So whether it's B2B, B2C, wholesale, yeah, it's really a tipping point, I think, from CPaaS towards NPaaS, or whatever we may call it in the coming days. There's so many names, but right. I think we should all go for the same and really connect and learn and inspire together here the coming days on that.
Absolutely. So innovation is in your title. What does that mean?
Yeah, so I work at KPN at the Innovation and Partnerships Department, which is under our Corporate Strategy Department. And we are a small team, but we are really looking at the growth teams for KPN. So I guess you will not be surprised that NPaaS, or platform play, is one of those teams for KPN. And really working on that with the business to execute on them. So we build roadmaps, we execute together. We talk to the IT guys, but also to the data guys and the business people, saying, okay, this is the way forward. This is where we really see new propositions coming up, being relevant for our customers, because that is a challenge for a telco, how to remain relevant for the coming years. Because you see broadband, it's like water from the tap, right? So in the end, you need to put things on top of that for your customers, whether it's B2B or B2C, to stay relevant. So we're working on these growth teams, thinking about them, talking to the board on them, but also executing them and really drafting the partnerships to work on those. So good for telco, don't do anything yourself anymore, get it from the market, startups, scale-ups, but also large companies, enterprises. So yeah, great job, I have to say.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting. So what do you see Network as a Service, or CPaaS, bringing to you at KPN?
Yeah, so, well, CPaaS, or NPaaS as we call it, but yeah, it is a growth theme for KPN, and we really see in multiple domains that there's so much more to bring to customers. So that's the most important thing for us, is really that we can move up the value chain, draft different services together with partners to be relevant in whether it's a SME context, it's a wholesale context, it's a consumer context. It doesn't matter, actually, because there's so much to bring from security perspective, but also from 5G and all the possibilities that arise there. So many more propositions for the customers, but also, of course, in the end, that's what many people ask me, is it not just cost saving also being done there? So yeah, of course, if you look at our IT architecture and how we do that now versus how we are going to do that in the future and what we are building now, yeah, you will develop every API only once in KPN, big KPN, and then put it where you need it, use it where you need it. So that will be a big changing element. I think it will be quite transformational for telco, actually.
So we were just having a conversation backstage a little bit about transformation, not only happening at the network level, but internally. How are you approaching that, is making changes internally as we move to these next generation services?
Yeah, well, that's tough, of course, because on the one hand, a lot of IT people see that coming and they believe in it, so that's the good thing, that's their own practice. On the other hand, people are used to develop stuff for their own department, for their own IT system. So we need to get a different approach there, but I think we're working that out, and the good thing is the board is fully behind this for KPN. The CTO is fully behind it. You really need this kind of sponsorship, I think, to get things done. It's like applying golden rules to your company and then saying, okay, we're going to do it in this way. You know, everybody needs to do it in this way, and really enforcing that upon the people. But the good thing is they also believe in that, but it's totally, it's like a culture change you're making, right? So
it really is.
Takes
it really
time.
is. And I think that is one of the challenges that we'll be talking about throughout the rest of the week as well. I've noticed that you've recently joined Chimera.
Yeah.
Why Chimera? What do you hope to achieve by being part of that group?
Yeah, so our CEO joined. He's made the signature in Q1 this year, so pretty recently. And we see the Chimera initiative as one thing that was a little bit missing in the industry yet, at least for telcos, to be honest. So what we need to scale this business, to be really able to scale this business, is interoperability, right? So, and you know, big hyperscalers cannot work with us if they have to draft a contract with KPN, with T-Mobile, with Vodafone, with Telephonic. All the time, they need to do all the paperwork for, you know, getting the services done. So it's really not workable. So if we want to achieve the scale that you were talking about, you know, then we should really get this interoperability. So especially for the East-West, as they call it in Chimera, we really need to get things done, but I think it can also make a big step forward that we have the same API-based services, and we can use them north-south, so even better for partners to cooperate and scale it further. So it's going to be working both ways, I have to say.
Right. No, I think that's what we've learned from the broader CPaaS opportunity, is how to enable those developers.
Yeah.
And so being able to build an application once, and then be able to leverage that across different networks, I think will really be a critical part of that. And so we're excited to hear that you're committed to moving that forward. How do you feel, because you mentioned that you were an early adopter with the KPN API store. I think, you know, we'd all admit it's had mixed results, but I think there's a lot of experience there. How do you think you might be able to leverage that into this next set of services with more of the network APIs?
Yeah, so we were kind of a trailblazer, I have to say, a few years ago, but it was really about experimenting, and that's really good, I think, because if you don't experiment right, you don't learn. So we built this developers API store, we called it. Now it's called the developer portal, and put services in there. And it was really, but how are we going to, what is this kind of business model? You know, is it per transaction or for the total service? So we were really playing around, but that gave us good insights, I think, and building up the ecosystem with the right partners. You know, it gives you exposure, like people want to come to you and do business together. So that's good anyhow, I guess. So both ways, you know, from business model point of view, as from ecosystem point of view, I think it helped us really a lot, although not much money was to be made then, right? So it's just an experiment, but it helped us make the steps towards what we now want as a CPaaS suite, but also building up these NPaaS services that we want to create around them now. So it really helped. I think if you don't try, you don't learn, right? So I would always advise just step in and do things, because, you know, if it's on paper, it doesn't live, right? It doesn't bring you money anyhow, so...
Right. Now, we at CPaaS Acceleration Alliance have also joined Chimera, and we see that as a really interesting project. Our point of view, though, is that we need to make sure that we keep in mind how it's going to be used, right? I think too often these groups, we get very technical. So what would be a couple of key use cases that you think that this will enable out in the real world where, you know, other companies can take advantage of this?
Yeah, so the good thing is we are the market champion for the Netherlands, so we talk together. Yeah, you have to do it together, right? It's a good thing. So we talked with Odido, which was formerly T-Mobile, but they changed their name recently, and Vodafone to see, okay, what kind of services can we bring to market and what should be first? You have to work in the same pace, because otherwise it will not succeed, right? So that's good. And I talk to a lot of other telcos, seeing what are they doing, because you don't compete if you're not in the same country, right? So I hear so many nice use cases. I want to give a few examples, just to inspiration is the goal, right?
That'd be great.
So yeah, there's like companies like WhatsApp who say, okay, if I could combine SIM swap information together with your location verification, then I'm sure that there's no identity fraud being done, because with GPS you can still fraud. So they are saying to telcos like, hey guys, could you come up with an interoperable model about that, so that we can prevent this identity fraud with WhatsApp users. That's a very relevant one, I think, because I just had one last week. My mother thought I changed numbers and if I could transfer some money. Of course she didn't, but that happens every day to a lot of people, right? There's a lot of banks coming to us, saying, okay, can we use these security credentials that you have? But in terms of 5G, I think there's also a lot of possibilities. Like we have quality on demand coming up. I think you heard about it, but what if you could give quality on demand service for PIN terminals at festivals or concerts, so that the PIN terminal will at least work regardless of everybody, filming the event or the venue or whatever is going on. So this kind of services, I think, very relevant, and they stand on themselves, but they can also be used and integrated together with partners.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. And the network providers are in a very unique position to provide that information. So I think that's where we get this collaboration that we're looking for here. So that's great. So just finally, maybe share with us a little bit the vision of KPN and where you think you'll be over the next year or two.
Yeah, so we have big ambitions, of course, on this growth team, as we call it. So we are working in SME, building up a vendor management system, because we work with business partners, and also business partners. They serve the companies in the streets, a retail market, and they do the IT and telco stuff. So they say, oh wow, if I could integrate like a security on demand, a SOC, a small SOC center, into my services, that would really add value, right? And they can do it white labeled or however. So these kind of services for SME could be very relevant. Also quality on demand, of course, this kind of stuff. For LCE, we have, of course, the CPaaS suite already there, but we will, enhance that with a lot of new services as well for enterprises. And then for wholesale, of course, those are for us the aggregators and the integrators, the kind of over-the-top kind of parties. Those are also very relevant for us. So I think especially in the B2B market, of course in B2C it's like carrier billing, this kind of stuff, it's one-on, but especially for the business market, the opportunities are endless, I think.
No, that's great. And I'm really excited to hear you talk about SME. We've highlighted that as one of the key growth macro trends, and we'll be spending a whole track on that tomorrow afternoon, but it really does take the carrier's involvement to unlock that. So excited to hear that that's part of your roadmap and vision. So Ellen, really appreciate the time this afternoon and hosting us here in Amsterdam, and we look forward to spending some more time with you this afternoon.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ellen. Thank you.